Hey, what's up survivors? In this video I'm going to show how my sleeping mod works for DayZ. So I've spent the past week or two working on this mod. It's open source, so if you're interested in scripting for DayZ, you can find the link below to the source code to this entire thing. But basically this mod introduces a sleeping feature into the game. It has a lot of configuration options for server owners. I'll go over all of these, or most of these, in this video really quickly. I'll jump into the game in a second and I'll show you how the mod works. So there'll be a link to the mod page below with all of the feature write-up and everything that the mod is capable of. It's based on the medical attention mod by Lucian. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He created this epic immersive mod years ago, back in 2019, I believe, for the game, which added a bunch of like medical immersive features like broken arms, broken legs, before broken legs were a thing in the official game, the vanilla game. And he also had this sort of side feature, which was a sleeping mod. And I always enjoyed this. I used to play it on DDU all the time. And you would have this sleep meter down on the bottom right that would slowly deplete over time, and you would have to rest. And if you rested by a fire, you rest by using the lie down emote. And if you rested by a fire, you would recover more energy or tiredness, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, that's basically what my mod does. So let me get out of the game really quickly and reset the features to the settings to the default settings, and I'll show you how this bad boy works. So first of all, huge shout out to Lucian for making this original mod. I've given him credit and linked to his original mod in the source code to this mod and in the Steam Workshop page and all of that. But this mod is built on his original work and his idea. And so even though I've made some major changes and improvements or made it a lot more advanced than his original mod, I still definitely give him the majority of credit for this mod because he put in the work to build the foundations. I learned a lot from studying his mod. And he also gave permission for anyone to do whatever they want with his code. So thanks, Lucian, for that. Anyway, let's load into the game with the default settings. So it's nighttime in game right now. You can see my sleep meter down the bottom right. Originally, his was on the left. He replaced the specialty, whatever this is called, the specialization meter, with the sleep meter. I moved it over here. I thought that was a better spot for it. And that way we can still have the specialty meter. I still don't know what this does, but anyway, it's there. It's in vanilla, so I didn't override that. So let's have a quick look at some of these features of the mod. So first of all, we have max wake time. This is how long your character can stay awake in minutes. So by default, it's set to 4 hours. Allow inventory while sleeping means that you can, while you're sleeping, while you're laying down, if I hit tab now, it's not doing anything because the default game settings disable your inventory when you're laying down. If I turn that setting on, then you can move items around in your inventory. You can't put guns in your hands and stuff like that. You can just sort of play Tetris with your inventory while you're sleeping. This is off by default, but it's an option there for the less hardcore servers that want to allow players to not get bored when they're sleeping. They can at least rearrange their inventory while they're sleeping, organize things. Can uncon in vehicle is on by default. This means you can fall asleep from being too tired while driving. So be aware of that, be careful of that. Sleep black screen means your screen turns black while you are lying down. If you turn this off, you can see everything while you're sleeping and recovering energy. Text notification turns on or off. This notification, I'll show you if I lie down. I can't use my mouse here, but if you look in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, there'll be a red message that pops up in a second that starts to sort of tell me my rest energy, my tiredness. There we go. My rest level is 53% and I'm cold. So if I was sleeping by a fire or I had the heat buff, I'd get a different message. I would recover energy slightly quicker depending on where I am. If I'm inside a house, I rest even faster. If I have the heat buff, if I don't have the heat buff and I'm not sleeping by a fire, then I can get influenza. So your character will slowly accumulate influenza if you sleep outside without a fire. So be aware of that. Text notification frequency is just for server owners. This adjusts how quickly or how often you get text notifications if this setting is turned on. Only show sleep on inventory is off by default. If it's on, that means that this sleep meter in the bottom right will only display when you're tabbed and your inventory is open. So for server owners that don't like seeing this on their HUD, you can turn that off unless the player is tabbed. Now the player will make sounds. They'll make yawning sounds. I got my sister to record some female yawning sounds. So there's male and female yawning sounds as your player gets sleepy. So you don't need to have this sleep meter on your HUD if you don't want it to be there at all times, at least. Your character will yawn and blink thanks to Lucian's original code. Your eyes will shut as you get more tired. So that's there for server owners to play around with if they want to. Hide HUD while sleeping will hide any items in your hand. If I put a lighter in my hand, and let's, I can't see shit right now, but let me get closer to some sort of object. Here we go. See these pants on the ground. If I sleep now with that setting turned on, notice that the lighter in my hand is now gone in the bottom left here, and I can't see those pants. They don't show up on my HUD when I'm moving my mouse around like they normally would when you're awake. So that F to open setting there, that's what that's for. And just really quickly, let me change the weather to be a bit brighter so we can see what's going on. Let's have a look at a couple of other settings here. All of these settings here I won't go over. They're explained in the notes on the workshop page. These just govern how often your character yawns, how often it makes a sleeping sound, when you start yawning, when you start falling unconscious randomly. So your character will fall unconscious randomly if you get too tired. And I can show you what that looks like right now by using one of these custom items I added, which is the Anesthetic Syringe. And if I throw on a stimulant syringe and I use the Anesthetic Syringe, keep an eye on my bottom right sleep meter. When I inject myself with this syringe, I'll lose all of my tiredness. The character yawns, and I fall unconscious because I've hit my maximum uncon level. After a while, my character will wake up. He'll regenerate a little bit of energy, of tiredness. But this is the sort of penalty for not resting regularly with your character. If you let your character get too tired, they will fall unconscious, and they will also fall unconscious while driving if that's enabled on the server config. And that's pretty much the bulk of the mod. The last few things here are some configuration options for sleeping near a fire. So during the day, without a fire, the maximum rest you can recover is 50%. With a fire, it's 75%. With no fire at nighttime, it's 80%. And with a fire at nighttime, it's 100%. You can also turn on the heat buff to count as a fire. I've turned that off by default because I want players to be sleeping by a fire, to be immersed and sort of give away their position as well. If you need to sleep at nighttime by a fire, it's kind of cool if you can see where the player is sleeping. If you turn on the heat buff, counts as a fire, the player can stand by a fire for a while and then run off into the bush at nighttime and sleep in a bush and still regenerate their full energy. So keep that in mind depending on the server you're kind of running. Outside fire temp and inside fire temp, I've included these options for configuring winter servers particularly because I'm not that experienced with working with winter servers, and the temperature of fires is different depending on the environment you're playing in. So there's more information about that on the workshop page. The sleep accelerator increases how quickly you recover your energy while you're asleep. So after 30 seconds, this kicks in, and every couple of seconds, your sleep will, the speed at which you're recovering your energy will accelerate by this amount. So 0.1 of 1% every few seconds. So over time, you'll slowly get faster and faster. On average, you recover all of your energy between about 4 minutes on average. If you're sleeping inside with a fire, it's 25% quicker. So if you're sleeping in a house or a tent with a fire nearby, then you recover energy much, much quicker. So outside by a fire, you sleep 5% quicker. Inside with no fire, you sleep 10% quicker. Inside with a fire, you sleep 25% quicker. These are the default options. You can obviously tweak these if you want to. And then there's some energy drink options here. The cola regenerates 25% of your entire tiredness. You can tweak this as well. Spite is only 10% because the can says it's caffeine free. Same with the Kvass. Epinephrine will give you minus 15% energy, morphine minus 20. The anti-chem or the pox injector, the anti-gas poisoning injector will give you 100% tiredness, so you will fall asleep as soon as you use this or go unconscious. Same with my custom syringe. The stim syringe, the stimulant syringe, will give you 100% energy. So you, if I stand up here and I use the stim syringe, sorry if the audio is a bit buggy while I'm recording, that will give me my full energy. And there we go. So I just happened to load that up when I got a random yawn sound. Other players can hear those yawns if they're around me. So the more tired you get, you can give away your position the same as if you're sick and your character is coughing or something. So keep that in mind. Then there's some rest objects. This is a little bit buggy. It's not working as I would like it to because the game is kind of funny at detecting nearby objects. It doesn't always detect the objects that are sort of obviously around you. Medium tent, for whatever reason, seems to work perfectly fine. So I included that here as an example. If you want to tweak this, you can. You can add other objects. If the game or the mod accurately detects one of these items, this is the type name of the object. The mod checks if this string is contained in the object type. So if this was underscore blue or whatever, orange, that would also be detected by medium tent. Any object that contains this string will count as medium tent. And here are some config options you can play around with. I've tweaked the max rest. So during the day with no fire in a medium tent, you can recover 60% of your energy instead of 50% without a fire. And you also sleep 10% quicker in a medium tent. I didn't include other tents because they didn't seem to work, at least not consistently. But the code in the script that detects, if I go to the player base and check for the check your player is inside, this function here sends a raycast to the roof. This is how the vanilla game detects if your character is below a roof to prevent you from lighting fires and stuff inside. This function here will detect if you're inside most tents. So the rest object thing is kind of optional. If you want your character to sleep faster inside, maybe just tweak the inside accelerators. So inside no fire and inside with fire. These should be detected even inside tents. The code here should detect any object that has a roof, basically. Anyway, with all that said, I think I've covered everything that's important to cover here. There's a lot more information on the workshop page if you want to check that out. The source code is open source, all of this. You can repack this mod on your servers if you want to. All that means is you won't get automatic updates if I find a bug and I fix it. But the source code is open source, just like Lucian's original mod, Medical Attention. So help yourself to the code if you want to tweak this mod at all. Don't feel any need to credit me, it's fine. This was just a bit of a fun side project for me. And yeah, that's it for this video, I guess. As I said, there'll be more information on the workshop page, more up-to-date information as well. When you run this mod, this default config will generate a JSON file in your server's config folder, and you can tweak all of these settings there. You can even tweak the strings that get sent to the player. So if you're in a different running your server with a different language other than English, you should be able to tweak these strings in the JSON file to translate them into whatever language you are running your server on. Anyway, with all that said, I'll wrap this up here. Thanks for watching. Have fun playing around with this mod. It was a lot of fun to make, and I'm looking forward to playing on it myself if any servers in Australia run it. Otherwise, I'll just try and start my own server, hardcore server to play on, because I really like this sort of thing in DayZ. Anyway, take care. Good luck out there. Stay safe when you're roaming around the wilderness of DayZ. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next video.